So, you want to be a game developer, but first you need a fantastic portfolio that's going to get you hired. In this video, I'm going to go through some tips and tricks that's going to help your portfolio stand out from the crowd. This channel is all about getting the next generation of game developers into the industry. So if you want to stay up to date on tips and tricks, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest content. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the importance of a portfolio, what you should be including in your portfolio, how to make your portfolio pieces and how to properly showcase them, and then some extra tips that are going to help you stand out from the crowd. So why is a portfolio so important? Well, it's a chance for potential employers to see what you are truly capable of, and it really helps them to get a good idea on the skills that you already have and what level you have them to. As someone who's involved in the hiring process myself, I can definitively tell you that looking at your portfolio is so much more important to me than looking at your CV. Looking at your portfolio is a representation of your work, and I can look at that and think, oh, this person would be a really good fit in this team in my company, or this person could really add to what we've already got. It also shows employers what you're interested in. So, for instance, if you're applying for one specific role, and the employer knows of other roles in the company that kind of lean into what your portfolio work goes into a little bit more, then they may not call you in for an interview for the role you've applied for, but they might pass you on to another area of the company and say, hey, look what this person can do. They'd be a great fit. So moving on, what should you include in your portfolio? Well, a portfolio should really be videos, screenshots, and descriptions of the work that you have created so far on your journey to becoming a game dev. Ideally, you should be putting all these pieces on a website that you've made with WordPress or something along those lines, and then include a link to that website on your CV. But it is fine to just have a YouTube channel that has videos of what your work pieces have done. But again, a website is preferable because you can add a bit more detail to the description and you can spruce things up a little bit more. What I would say is if you have some pieces that are really highly technical and don't really visually show much, write really cool detailed descriptions about what you're showing off. This tends to be the case for things like learning AI. It can be hard to get a good visual representation of what's happening. So if you have a really nice, short and concise description, then put those in. Also, include a variety of different projects. Try not to just show off one specific genre. I have had some CVs that are just all 2D platformers, and I don't work for a company that does 2D platformers. If I see that, I'm less inclined to think that you're going to work well in our company. For example, in my graduate portfolio, I had pieces on 3D physics, I had graphic representations, I had 2D platformers, I had full games, I had projects that used networking, I had a whole variety of things. That's kind of what you want. Show that you've got a good base for everything. If you do want to go highly specialized, then by all means go highly specialized, but just know that you're limiting yourself to the roles for that specific job. So how do you actually make your portfolio pieces? Well, the software that you've created, you screen record you using that software, that game, playing the really good parts of it, and then you get a free video editor like DaVinci Resolve or even just something as simple as Movie Maker from Microsoft, and cut out so you're only showing the best bits. Do a highlight reel. You don't want your videos to be too long. I would say a minute is fine, 2 minutes is fine. Anything above 3 minutes, you're starting to push it. You're probably not going to have someone watch that entire video. Take really attractive screenshots that you can display next to the videos that you've taken. And make sure you display everything that you want to in that short amount of time. It's a highlight reel. You only want to see good things. You don't want to see any filler. One thing to mention that is kind of the opposite of that, however, is if you've made a game, make sure to include the main menus and the pause menus and any settings that you've put into that game. You want to display that you've made a game and you've thought about it. You haven't just done the fancy fun bit of making the gameplay, you've made a game that has a full cycle of loading it up, starting in the main menu, character select or options to select. You play the game, you can pause a game, you can quit out of that game, you can start a new game. These things are actually more impressive than you might think to an employer, because most people just show off gameplay. But showing that you're willing to do the not so fun parts of software development shows that you have a really good understanding of what it takes to make a game. And finally, some tips that are going to help you stand out from the crowd. Well, this kind of bleeds into what I just mentioned about if you've made a game, show that you've done every aspect of a game cycle, including the main menus and the pause menus. Also, include sound. A lot of people tend to omit adding sound to their games for some reason. I'm not too sure why, but it isn't often an overlooked part of making games. Add any HUD elements in you can too, because that will show that you really understand how important player feedback is. A really strong thing you can do is provide download links for the software that you've made. That would be really impressive if I can just click on a link, download the software, and I can play the game or the piece that you've made myself. It gives me a better understanding of it than just watching a video. I can find all the cool things you've put in there that you don't have time to display in a short video. A further step up from this that I have seen done is make a portfolio piece that actually runs on my browser. This is really impressive. The fact I can just go to your CV, click on the portfolio link, and I'm playing a game that you've made almost immediately. That's AAA standard. That is really, really impressive, and most of the time, assuming the game is okay, that would land you an interview. If you aren't comfortable with providing download links or showcasing online, then you could always show off some of your source code, providing that that source code is relatively clean. Obviously, as a graduate, you're not going to be the best programmer in the world, but showing off your source code allows me to critique it and give you some good pointers. It also means that I know you're confident enough that you can show off what you've done and that you are open to criticism. And that's all we've got for this video. I hope these tips were helpful for you and will help you out in some way in the future. If you are enjoying the content on this channel, please give it a subscribe and hit the notification bell. It'd really help me out. If you have any tips or tricks that you would like me to go over a bit further, or if you have any questions, if you want me to critique some portfolios, please feel free to leave a comment below. I will get back to every one of those. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye for now.